Welcome to Series 7, and this is number 1. In this series, we'll look at what it is to have a balanced life. Luke 2:52 says, "And Jesus increased in wisdom and in stature and in favour with God and man." Notice there are 4 aspects of life included in that verse. Wisdom, which for what we're thinking about is the mental aspect of life. Stature, which aligns with the physical, and favour with God and man, and they both align with the social and with the spiritual. Perhaps if we look at that as it sort of comes out, we think of it as a box. Four compartments: social, spiritual, mental, and physical. But is that the way it actually works? When we look at it from that perspective, it's all very simple. It's all very easy. But we recognise that life isn't always as easy as we think it is. So as we go on, it looks nice, as I said, but we don't necessarily compartmentalise life like that, do we? Just imagine 6 hours of physical training and 6 hours of learning stuff and 6 hours of being with people and then 6 hours of spiritual stuff. What about work and what about sleep? Okay, sure, our jobs have components of each of these, but the reality is that life doesn't fit neatly and comfortably into boxes like that. So let's look at it from a different perspective. If we look at the components as a seesaw, mental, social, and physical are on the bar. And the pivot point of life is the spiritual. The different way of looking at it allows us to get some perspective on how life is a balance. And reality has that some things take more balancing than others. To balance the social and mental, you may have to move the physical a bit, or maybe one of the things is heavier than the others. But notice the pivot point will always be spiritual. When the relationship to God is in the right place in life, all of those other things can be in balance. If we place the pivot point at one end, we can't expect the God relationship to work. The priority we have is putting God in the right place in our lives. We need to see the interaction of those aspects of life from an overall perspective. Our lives, each part of life, interacts with the rest. And we will be unpacking that over the next 4 weeks. But today we're looking at the whole concept. These concepts again are mentioned in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. "I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Notice the linking that Paul does here. "I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice." All of life. What we have to offer God is more than a mental acknowledgement on Sunday morning, that's for sure. It's all of life, all of lifestyle, and inclusive in every aspect of our lives. To present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Spiritual worship is done by the body and is presented both spiritual and physical combined, don't they? It then goes on to say, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Renewal of the mind spiritually is affecting the physical and the information, the mental as well. But Paul is getting at is the holistic concept of our relationship with God. Our spirituality is affected by the physical, by the academic, as well as our social. And it's not just a theory, this is how it works. God designed us to be whole people. That's what this series is about. Have a think about it this week, and we'll talk about it more next week. Bless you.